All right, it's Aaron White again, and I'm here with Jeremy
Catenacci.
And we're going to talk about his art today. It looks really cool to me. And you're doing the frame show coming up,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Do you remember the dates for it exactly?
It's December 1st through the 12th is when the art is going to be shown, and then the November 1st to January 12th, and then January 12th is the reception.
Thank you, Brandon. Right on. Are these pieces going to be in the show?
One or two of them, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So these ones are primarily, and I guess people can't really see this, but we'll throw up links or some pictures so that people can actually see what we're looking at. And you say you do a lot of wood carving, but these look a little different.
Yeah, these are monoprints. These are singular prints that are done on a matrix that's not repeatable. So it's more like painting and printmaking put together.
So you only get one shot at it. What is that? Because you're tearing down layers as you go on the carving, or how does that work?
No, like these were all done on sheets of plexiglass, and then basically the ink was applied and layered, and that way you don't really have markings where you can just keep reproducing the same results over and over continuously.
Okay. And you prefer to do that kind of work rather than the wood carving?
I feel it. I mean, I understand the logic behind multiplicity in printmaking. It's both economic and at the same time you can reach a lot more people as opposed to one person at a time with one piece. But it just feels a little bit more personable when you have singular pieces.
Right, it seems like it would give it a little more value because
Yep.
that's the only print of it. You can't just mass produce it a lot. But yeah, before we were talking about that you kind of were feeling more pushed into the wood block or the wood carving kind of area.
Yeah, that's
Why is that?
usually. Well, I'm planning on becoming, a college level teacher, professor. Hopefully, that's my goal. And monoprints are one of the less noble forms of printmaking because it's not as repeatable. Mm-hmm. And in order to get teaching position, you have to have a body of work that shows that you're capable of doing multiple areas of printmaking. Mm-hmm. So my base is monoprints, and then I can also do wood blocks or intaglio prints like this, language plate.
How does that kind of print work?
That one, you get a piece of copper and you layer asphaltum on it. Then we'll remove the asphaltum and put it in an acid solution, and it will eat away where the asphaltum that protects the copper was removed. So it will emboss the plate. You can kind of feel where the ink is deeper because it has micro shadow, micro texture, where the symbols are.
How long have you been doing the printmaking? Did you start with printmaking or anything else?
My actual starts in the world of secondary education would be, I was actually a traditional animator.
What is that?
Hand-drawn animation.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And about my first year in, the school that I went to had dropped the program. I think it was marketable in our day and age because of Pixar's recent successes with 3D animation. They dropped the program, and I tried to switch over to that, but I hated it. I needed the tactile quality of creating art, and I just reversed my major and minor and went to printmaking.
You need the tactile thing of art. How long have you been making art? Like before you started drawing sketches, were you just like always doodling in class, that kind of thing, making flip books?
I was, and way back, like some of my earliest projects weren't really considered them art in the marketable sense, but since I was a really little kid, I actually used to do earth art. I used to build, I don't know what you'd exactly call them, but I don't want to say like I was recreating ruins in the middle of nowhere. I used to quarry stone out of this bottomless riverbed, and I'd build ruins of little cities or temples. And
that's neat. Yeah, right on. It seems like you still have a pretty big appreciation for the sacred in a lot of your works. I don't know. The subject matter seems to deal with that kind of ethereal spirit element of things in a lot of them. Where do you think that comes from, particularly in your art? Is that just the most interesting subject matter for most people?
Well, I guess I think that probably come from, I always felt a disdain for traditional religious practice. It just felt
I hear you.
too impersonal, and it was more a commodity and not about actual, like, enlightening the self or achieving a higher state of mind. I've always felt like it's one of the noble acts of being a human being is to become more than what our body is, and to quote unquote ascend from the physical into maybe another dimension of reality, or I don't know.
Yeah, right on. And you said the other major influence was that it was over stories. You got a lot of your pictures from narratives.
Yeah, I mean, the monoprints, the series that this is part of a story that I'm working on. I don't know if I should necessarily call it a story, but it is a story because it's not nonfiction. But at the same time, the story is based off of creating my own mythology, my own guides, I guess, to create my own spirituality, which is based off of my studies of different religions, because I do believe there is good things in it. It's just they're so convoluted by all the bad things. And then when you find those good things, you'll find that they're usually in all major religions, and that's where I draw my mythology from, is taking the similar between
What they all have in common, because religions can be so divisive, but at their core, they really all have a very similar value set of just be good to people and try and raise up everybody with what you can do in the world. I mean, you borrow from a lot of things that I can see. Chakras are in it a lot. I see a lot of the Japanese influence over there with the demons, the guardians, I guess, more likely. I see some Christian stuff over there too.
Yep.
Do you have like a favorite one? Either just down a line or a specific story or anything like that?
Actually, I think my first major successful body of work drew a lot on Native American ideas of the results of misusing the planet and the planet itself, violently acting out against humanity to try and either teach it a lesson or cleanse itself of. And that was, I guess, in a way, would be my favorite, but at the same time, I guess my favorite interesting story is, I guess I just call it romantically apocalyptic, because I'm drawn towards the notion of revolution through catastrophe. Like I have this belief that if a real catastrophe destroyed half our planet and wiped out half of our species, that would be the one thing that would unify us.
Yeah.
Because what we're lacking, I think, is unification.
It could be something like that for sure. Yeah, crises generally help precipitate change.
Because it seems like you have to have like an insurmountable positive event to unify people, but you just have a simple thing, simple crisis, and everyone comes together.
As long as we're still fighting each other, we're not going to get there.
Exactly.
We've got something else to go after and unite. Yeah, right on. So hold on, just getting back to the whole line of the art. You started real early. You said you went to undergrad, and then you switched your major for wood carving, right?
Traditional printmaking, yeah.
Oh, to shop printmaking. How long have you been doing in studio art kind of thing?
I guess if you add it up, after this year, it's going to be 10 years.
Wow. Right on. And do you do a lot of shows? Do you coordinate them yourself? How do you get your art out there?
I look for call for artists, and sometimes it's just knowing someone and being there at the right time. I mean, my first couple of shows were literally just being there at the right time, and I didn't get a resounding success here, but since I do have my website, my old website, which is no longer active, and my current one, I was able to connect with people who had a little bit more appreciation for, I guess, what I was trying to say, and I haven't had any shows over there because I actually have a little following in India,
Right on.
another little following in the Netherlands, but
Wow, that's cool.
someday I'll show over there in person. Not
But
just that
yeah,
digital stuff.
So, like, how do you, this frame show, you're helping coordinate it, right? Is that the first one you've, like, helped put on and
No,
kind of manage and pull artists together? Or?
I helped with the first one. I wasn't, I helped organize, but I was more so there for moral support and just setting up the show, and then helping, auction off auction off the work.
Mm.
And since, the UDAA's founders have graduated, and me and Sarah took the reins, and so this year we're taking over.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, it just always seems so hard for people to make a living as an artist and be able to show their works off. One of the things I want to show with this is that to encourage people that you can pursue a life in the arts, and it is something tenable, even though you may not have a trust fund or a university's endowment behind you. Like, you can just find ways to get art out there, and I've found universities and things like that to really be a kind of bastion, a safe haven for artists to kind of help them through. You're going to continue on and do teaching here at UD, or?
I don't know where I'm going to teach yet. I've been checking out, positions online through different websites like Higher Ed and the College Art Association, and at first they usually want you to have a lot of experience to get into the more desirable jobs, so I'm probably going to start off with maybe community college, a couple of classes here and there, or even, I'm not against it, or even primary education. I think you can actually do a lot of benefit there if you can start them young. I'm a firm believer that you should, anyone can do art. It's like any other skill. Just got to pick up a pencil and just go.
Just put the time in. Yeah. Well, getting back to the art a little bit, I guess. Tell me about this language you've created out of just symbols.
The language itself is based off of bird calls originally, and then hearing a bird call and repeating it over and over, you try to put a sound into a mark, and then refining that mark so it's appeasing to the eye, really curvy spirals, just it flows. The only times that the marks take on like a sharp edge is if it has like it's a loud, sharp sound. There's a few of them in there, and I've been making studio art for 10 years, and I started working on the language about 7 years ago, and it's just been evolving from there. Originally it only had like 6 really common bird calls, and then as I've moved, I've encountered other bird calls, and I wanted to add that, and now it's like if you actually speak it, it doesn't sound like a bird call at all. It's actually kind of...
Can you speak some of it? I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated by it. I've never heard of someone just kind of trying to create their own language. Like, normally people figure our symbol sets are good enough to communicate with. I mean, clearly that's not the case. You go back deep on these symbols, it looks like, and even felt the need to create your own. I want to hear some of it.
Well, let's see. A common word, like the word love, if you were to say it, is the Thethan. So it's kind of, I naturally have a little bit of a lisp, but I think that the language itself, to speak it, I want to have that sound quality, that just sounds, it's interesting to me. Like real Latin is sung, not spoken. That's kind of where I'm leaning this for it to evolve into. Is just it all blending together without punctuation.
Yeah, I took Latin for 4 years, man. I had to over across the street at Cistercian, actually. But I've always been kind of enamored with the classics in that same kind of way. Latin being a dead language, but it's at the root of most of ours. So if you go back to it, most of our sentiments tie into theirs very closely. I see some works from classics over there, like they look like those your standard kind of angel demon kind of stories. I don't know what that's from, if it's from Dante or something like that.
Yeah, that's from an artist. His name's Gustave Doré, and he illustrated Dante's Inferno.
Oh, okay, I was right.
So you were right about that.
Oh, wow. That's pretty awesome.
And he just has a lot of really fascinating work, and I really appreciate the literal narrativeness of it. Mm-hmm. There's certain little symbols in there that I've drawn from. Like that piece that you're looking at there is going to be part of like the base of the architecture. Mm-hmm. Maybe not keeping the architecture, but I just like the forms in it, so I'm going to take the forms from it, and then it's part of a little series that I'm working on for my next show, and I'm doing a small piece, that one over there, that's the mock-up for it. It's called the Tower of Zoe, and it's along with the other piece, which is the Altar of Light, and there's the other piece that goes with it, and that's the Destruction of the Veil is what it's called, and the show is about yin and yang, and this is the negative aspects of, like, if we were to lose our ignorance, our bliss that allows us to just live in the world without seeing repercussions and being aware of spiritual anomalies. So it's kind of like that would be like awesome. If everything was gone and all our negative energies were able to manifest, like have physicality to them. This idea.
That's cool. So do they each represent like a different specific energy? Is there kind of a transition from one to the other? How does the story unfold with that?
I guess the story unfolds. The beginning of this little suite of three is going to be I haven't decided the event yet, but there's going to be an event, and that event's going to cause everyone to lose our, I guess, spiritual innocence, if we even have that anymore. I don't think we do, but...
Questionable in today's world.
Yeah, and the results of that is going to be like, I'm going to have a kind of Aurora Borealis kind of thing is what it's going to look like. This physical barrier is going to be destroyed. When it's destroyed, negative energies will start taking on form and shape, and as they do, the first form they're going to take is just a black tower that's going to, erupt out of the earth, splitting it and just shoot into the sky, kind of like the Tower of Babel, if you will.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
Or the tower in like tarot cards, if you're familiar with that symbol set.
Yep. I have like 6 sets of tarot cards.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I've been doing those for a couple of years. I enjoy them.
Yeah. My preference for divination, though, is runestones.
Oh, yeah?
I guess, seeing that, I guess it makes sense. Someday I'll make my own set, but...
I don't know. My sister was commissioned, actually, to build a tarot deck and do her own artwork for it. She never finished it, but... I've been big into those for a couple of years. I read off of a Aleister Crowley deck.
Yeah, that was my first deck I got.
Yeah, the Thoth deck.
That's my favorite deck I have, actually.
Yeah, strong with the symbols a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Aleister Crowley is actually one of my influences. It's him, and then like Helena Blavatsky, the founder of the Theostics. It's like a spiritual movement that Crowley was subscribed to, and she's one of the founders of it.
Huh. I did not know that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I see a lot of really cool symbols at work in your art, and I feel like you say they all come with like a narrative, and I can definitely see there's a lot of information and value packed into each one of these. I feel like they should all come with like a little you know, like explanation or like a little handbook to let you be able to interpret them a little bit better, you know?
Yeah, for my next show, I'm actually planning. It's gonna be kind of, I guess, cruel in a way, but if you came to our last show, everyone who came to the show, at least the first 30 people, I got one of these prints.
Oh, awesome.
And
The language.
yeah, the next show, underneath each piece, I'm actually gonna have a little write-up, but it's all gonna be in the language. So
if you're really interested, then yeah, you'll
then
go
you
in and
like,
unpack
oh
it.
hey, I can decipher this, and then you'll have like a whole story there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And if not, you can just be clever and go to my website and read my little story that I have typed up for you.
Ah, right on. Well, yeah, we'll gotta make sure to get the website out there and post all that stuff. When's your next show after the framework?
My thesis show goes up at the beginning of March, and it opens the public March 9th, either 27th, and it's going to be at the Umbrella Gallery, which is Mokah now, but in the future will be called the Umbrella Gallery, and it's going to have approximately 16 pieces in there, of varying size, and the two cat pieces of the show, one's going to be called Serenity and one's going to be called Agony, and we're going to kind of create the yin and yang dynamic balance between the show, because it's going to be bouncing between negative and positive, because I can't just have one or the other. I have both of them.
Right on, man. I really like all your stuff, though, man. It looks cool. Everybody be sure to go check that out and check out the website so you can see a lot of Jeremy's stuff for yourself, because really I can't even begin to touch on how good some of this stuff is. I like it a lot. And yeah, man, thanks for chatting.
Not a problem.
Yeah, right on.
Get it the reverse way, should do a black with the white on top. I just reversed it, and I like the way that the effect that it gave it. I mean, realistically, if I could just make simple prints, I would just blend color with little wisp underneath them, I'd do it.
How did you make a gradient like that on a print? Like the way it fades, like here and here?
That was, I had like a really, really big brayer, and usually it's like a core that has like a rubber around it, and as you roll up the color, it's kind of how you lay your color.
Okay.
With this one, usually you just do
Instead of brush.
straight, but I don't have a curved one, so basically I just take it and I did an arch, and I did the arch. When you do the arch, it starts to lift a little bit, and when it starts to lift a little bit, it made that haze.
Okay.
This peaks by depression. And not letting that depression, snuff out your light.
Right, you got a lot of balance between the two sides, and you make a lot of references to that. It's more the balance in the two extremes kind of thing. Yeah, I like it. I grew up in a household full of that. My sister's bipolar.
Yeah.
Cool though.
But I enjoy it.
I like them a lot, man.
I just, in a way, if I didn't have the academic loom over me, I'd probably just keep doing more leads. These are what I appreciate doing most, and you can see that in the work. The two leads are a lot stronger than those pieces.
I mean, I like those too. I do like these three a little bit better. Just a little bit, because it seems like there's more, I don't know, there's more depth and story to them. These ones, I don't know, didn't quite hit me the same, but this one specifically was, I don't know, just a pretty clear outlook. Yeah, King and Soul coming out of the sun. This is another release from the Earth of the Spirits. This one had a really interesting story on it, though. Which was really cool. I'll let you talk about that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
this one is actually about, it's called What We Left Behind, when everyone else decides to leave the world. I'm sure someone's going to want to say, someone's going to be left behind, they don't want to leave. I'd probably leave, I wouldn't want to leave.
Is that the guy?
Yeah.
He's king now?
Not necessarily the king, it's just, when they're going to seek this other light, he's keeping his own light. Why not go and search for their own new light somewhere else?
Yeah. There's that same kind of dating thing. That seems like it would be really hard to get, but
It takes practice.
it take to make like one of these start to finish?
If I were to actually consistently sit down and work like non-stop, 3 weeks. But it is considered dry time. Usually, if you don't use dryer, it takes 2 weeks for it to dry. So those ones in particular, they take a long time to dry. There's a lot in the background. Like if these are woodcut,
I'm just carrying this around. Sorry.
I put dryer in it, and they usually dry in about 2 days. Whereas these guys, I didn't put a dryer in it, and it took about a week for me to dry, so it took me about a month and a half to do one of these. Which is good because they have more time to reflect on it, and then you can improve it as they're building it.
Can you really change stuff as it goes on, like as it's drying, or would that?
Yeah, you can a little bit. I mean, once it's dry, you can lay over top of it, but a lot of it isn't pure pigment, so it has transparency, so it just disappears.
So you got some succulents in the window? Sarah had one over in her studio too. Like the plant people.
That's a lot of plants. These are my babies. I don't want them to get too big, and I had to break some off.
Yeah. That's the great thing about succulents. Yeah, you can take trimmings real easy.
Again, more balance.
Yeah.
Aslan and Pinhead.
Dude, those were great books, man. I read.
Oh yeah, I loved his books.
Yeah, read all those. Oh, did you know they're making a new Hobbit movie?
Mhm.
I can't wait to see that. I'm stoked because I remember watching the cartoon when I was a kid, way before
Oh yeah.
any of the new ones. Yeah, the movie, the previews didn't look like they were doing any of the things from the animated movie. I was kind of bummed. What's the deal with Pinhead, man? I honestly haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, and
Yeah,
way
the
too
first time
scared to appreciate anything in it.
The first time I saw it, I was like 7,
Yeah.
and I saw the first 3 like in consecutive order because it was on TV, and by the end of it, I was just like mentally traumatized. Because it really did. It made me want not to wallow in negative places. Just try and push that out with that positive experience in life.
Huh. Turning of Hellraiser positive.
Yes.
Big breakthrough.
It made me a better person.
Right on. Dude, I like your book collection a lot.
Little bits of everything. Little bits of everything.
Yeah. It's stuff on symbols. Any good artist should have. Fine appreciation.
Yep. You learn ancient Egyptian.
Did that help with the language thing at all? Or no?
Not really a lot. But it was interesting just to see how they did it. Oh, he's locked out.
Oh, he's locked out. Yeah, we'll go grab him.